Good morning. It is so good to see everybody today. We are here with the art of encouragement. I hope everyone is doing well. I see that Mark is joining me right now. Can't wait to greet him. I hope you've ever had a wonderful week. Our mission each and every week is to spread hope and to inspire change. I don't know about you, but this week has been an exciting week for me. A lot of good things have happened. I've had a few issues along the way, but as we move forward, as we go through our daily lives and our weeks, it's not just about those mountaintop experiences. It's about the nitty gritty. It's about what's happening each and every day. And I hope that you've had a good week. I hope that you've been able to interact with people. You've been able to affect their lives by a kind word, a gesture, an email, a phone call, a text message. I hope you've been able to positively impact our world for good and to encourage those that need to be encouraged. It's so vital that we remind each other to do this each and every week, that we come together, that we are intentional about our commitment to changing the world one life at a time. Sometimes we get in here and we go on this tangent and that tangent, but that's the heart of who we are. That's the heart, that's Mark's heart, that's my heart. We want to see people have better lives. We want to see people affirmed in who they are with their gifts. So many people don't believe that they have talent. They think that they can't go from point A to point B, but we see it happen all the time. So if you're watching this morning, just first quarter here, I want you to know that the world needs you. I want you to know that you have gifts that I don't have, that Mark doesn't have, but you have them and the world needs them. The world needs you. So as we gather today, good morning, Mark. How are you today, buddy?
Hey, good morning, Nick. Good morning, everyone. It's always a fantastic time to join you, my friend.
Absolutely. It's fantastic being here. I see that you've got your coffee. What all's in that? That's not black coffee there. What all do you have in there? That looks fun.
You know, it's a coffee of champions. You know,
Okay.
you
That's
feel
what I
like you're
like
a
to hear.
champion. You make yourself coffee. When you graduate to the coffee of champions, it's the thing. There's all kind of coffee. You can become a coffee merchant, Nick.
A
Just
coffee
outsource
merchant?
it. Yes, you
Yes.
can. You can just call it, whatever it is, the Piano Man
Encouragement
coffee.
beans?
The what?
Encouragement beans? No.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I think we just got another business idea. Encouragement beans, and it could be come in a nice package. We
Yes.
drop a link in the chat. Boom. Order your next coffee. Every 6 weeks or every 4 weeks, you have a coffee on order from us. It's a personalized message in there. It's beautiful. You drink the coffee, you join us, you show us your mug, encouragement beans. I think it's worth doing, and I think it's an amazing deal because there's a lot of coffee drinkers out there, and coffee is like a ambrosia of the gods. It's a gift that we have from the divine.
Absolutely. Well, that is something to consider. I have seen the outsourced coffee where you can just add your label and that sort of thing. And, I always just wonder, what does it taste like? Do encouragement beans, since they're vibed with encouragement, do they taste just a little bit differently than the the person down the street that's just buying that and selling that in their store just to make money? Or do you think ours would be just a little special because of that infusion of hope?
Yeah, I think one way to go about it is to conduct a blind test, a blind tasting test,
I
where
like
the
it.
coffee is brewed for the participants. It's a blind study. You don't know what are you drinking. Maybe it's Starbucks, maybe it's Dunkin' Donuts, maybe it's the Tim Hortons from Canada, or
Yes,
the encouragement beans from Florida.
I like it. I like it a lot. Fantastic. So, what all have you been up to this week? How have you changed someone's life this week, Mark?
I have. This is a program we talk about spiritual things, and it's
Hmm.
a big part of who we are. We don't hide it. We don't put it
Absolutely.
aside, and it's big. It's faith is a walking in faith is a big part of who we are, and I believe that it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's
Mhm.
nothing to be hiding, but essentially, I gave a Bible to read to someone today, not today, but yesterday and the day before, who never read it, never read the Bible. I mean, they didn't read the entire Bible in one sitting, but at least they started with the New Testament.
Yeah.
And then we went into the Proverbs, into the Old Testament, and the book of Ecclesiastes. So it's amazing journey, and I just happened to be the right place at the right time. I say, here's the Bible. Start here, and let me know how it goes, and then we can discuss it if you want. And here it is. So I feel that this is a start of a journey, and you know, I would say in 2013, one of my friends he gave me a whole box of one of those small print
Hmm.
Bibles,
Yes.
and it contained like 80 or 90 different books. And he said, Mark, I give it to your hands. I know it will find the right home. I say, Stepan, why are you giving me all these Bibles? What am I going to do with them? And I just
Right.
gave them all to everyone. And this reminds me, if I know you and I, we have written a book, The Art of Encouragement. But if you have somebody in your life, a client, a partner, a customer, an ally, anyone who you work with, buy their books, buy their books and give it away. Buy their books on Amazon and give it away. Say, hey, I
Yeah.
see what you're doing. I want you to have this book, and just put it in their hands. Just put it in their hands and say, read it, or at least read the first chapter or the last one, whatever it is. And it's such a great thing. Your friend benefits, your new friend benefits, and you benefit by sharing the encouragement and sharing the goodness. This is what I'm talking about. It's one of my clients. He's an author of 5 books, 5 books, and he's constantly writing more, constantly.
Wow.
And you know what he does? He sends me boxes of his books, and I just give it away. And I just give away his book to everyone. And it just brings the community together. That's a hint, hint.
Does. It does. Yeah. Please. We would love people to be encouraged with our book, of course. And not just because it gives us sales, because everything we've made, we've put right back into it. We have not profited even $1 from our book. And that was intentional. That's how we set it up. And although our business of coaching and that sort of thing can be profitable, for our book, we want it to be accessible. We want it in the hands of everyone. And it's our heart that people would be able to read our stories, our journeys, and maybe find themselves somewhere in it, that they would be able to relate. And then they would be able to remember those times in their own lives when people encouraged them, because that's what stories do. They excite us so much when we hear other people, because not only can we imagine it happening to them, but after reflection, we can think of those times where people really affected our lives, and through the affect came the effect. And that's what we hope to see here. I was on a retreat earlier this week, and it's so interesting you had mentioned, especially Ecclesiastes, because I did the closing devotional for our pastoral retreat, and I used Ecclesiastes 3 and talked about how there's a time for everything, a time for every purpose under heaven. But I also mentioned at the end of Ecclesiastes, Solomon says, cast your bread upon the water, and after many days it will return to you. With encouragement, that's kind of what we do. We put our bread on the water. We send out hope. We send out encouragement, and often we don't see an immediate result. And we're in a society where that's it. It's all the instant. It's all the now. But life's not often like that. It's great here on social media because we get to see someone lose 400 pounds. It took them a couple of years to do it, but we get to see it in 80 seconds, through a reel. We all know life's not like that. But if we remember to do our best, to be our best, and to give our best, and to share that with other people, and to really give them things that can change the trajectory of their lives. We may not get anything out of it. We may not be part of it always, but as we've talked about before on here, my favorite quote in life is to plant trees under whose shade you may never sit. Yeah. When you give a Bible, you may never see that transformation. When you give that word of hope, you may not have known that the person was struggling with suicidal thoughts the day before and you completely changed their life. Sometimes we hear that feedback, but sometimes we don't. But the way it gets returned to us, the way it returns is we have others encourage us. And it may not even be that same person when we're in our valleys. But I want to encourage those that are in valleys. I, the fruit, the vegetables grow in the valleys. That's when we are made. That's when we are formed. That's when that process happens. So if you see us and we seem like we're happy go lucky, it's not always like that. It's not always like that. We have times of doubt. There's a season for doubt and there's a season for hope and belief. Find that season. Find that season and journey with us. We want to encourage you as yes, you're encouraging other people, but we really want to encourage you to have the best life you can by making the best decisions, but also by dreaming, not giving up, not just getting into a routine, a pattern, a rhythm. And that's another thing we talked about on the retreat this week is how often that happens. We get into a rhythm. Sunday's this, Monday's this, Tuesday's this. How do your dreams come true if you don't schedule it? How how do you go to the next place? How do you launch that business? How do you write that book unless you invest that time in yourself? Do you have a day, a time, a blocked out part of your week where you're investing in your future? Or do you expect it to just happen to one day get that call? If you're not putting yourself out there, if you're not taking those risks, that call's never going to come. So I encourage you, block out that time for you because that will be the catalyst for your family to see, wow, if mom or dad or brother, sister, son believe in their dreams and they take the time to intentionally go for them, maybe I should as well. Setting that example of intentional time for personal development is key. So, how do you do that? How are you going to do that if you're not already? And it's not a guilt thing, it's just a reminder you're important. When we first got in here, that's what I was trying to affirm is that you matter. Your goals matter. And the world will be best served when you are doing what you were created to, what you were called to. That thing inside of you that won't shut up, that that calls to you at night that says, hey, do this. You can do it. but you doubt yourself because others have doubted you or you've not had success, don't give up. Do not give up. Keep going. And Mark and I want to help you do that. Let us know what it is. We're not going to send you an invoice for sending us a message. If we can help you, we want to help you.
100%. I want to go back to what you said about blocking the time. There's this conference that is called Exponential. It takes place at least once a year, maybe even more. But there's a flagship conference called Exponential, and it's designed for type A, like church planters in United States. It's put on in Orlando, designed in the Orlando Baptist Church. The church planters from all over the nation and other countries come together for a week, and they listen to speakers. They meet each other. They create plans. They encourage each other with the church planting endeavors, which is not easy, but it's a lot of spiritual, a lot of learning, a lot of community building. I have attended that conference, and I'm a follower of that event and speakers that take place there. A few years ago, a church planter came up and gave this talk about his community efforts and his success with church planting with his family. And he said, whenever you decide to do something, for him and for me as well, it's better to do something with a buddy or with a accountability partner. So you decide, well, I'm going to join the gym or I'm going to run. And the other person is going to wake up, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 a.m., whatever the time they wake up, and they're going to wait for you at a specific time. And you hope and pray to everything that is holy that you better get up and you run or walk or you exercise with them. Because if you don't, then you're not a good accountability partner. And I heard that talk from this pastor, and it really got to me. If you really want to do something, find a way, create something that you cannot get out of. Could be a mastermind group, something you schedule every week for 1 hour or 2 hours or every 2 weeks. And whatever happens, you will stick with it. So you eliminate all of the excuses, all of the backpedaling that, it's like you don't have to make a decision whether you're going to go or not. It's done. It's commitment. So whatever you are working on, perhaps find accountability partners, or you can work with us as well, that no matter what, that every week there will be this time that will spark and ignite additional actions in you so you don't have to do this alone. So that is my encouragement message.
You hit the nail on the head, Mark. For us to go from point A to point B, we've got to have those journey with us. And that's what the art of encouragement is. We're not traveling through life alone unless we choose to. Unless we choose to, don't be that person. Don't be that person because they say at the top, if you're by yourself, it's pretty lonely. Even if you work hard, you get there, you don't want to be by yourself. Take your tribe with you to the top. Encourage them along the way as you're growing, as you're learning. There's a guy that I work with. He serves at the church, but he has a fantastic business. And his name's Richard Norton. If I can think of someone that embodies what we are doing, it's Richard Norton. And I've invited him to be a guest on our show in the past. He's always so busy that he really doesn't have the time. He's in Mexico today, but he's here, there, and everywhere. But he's constantly encouraging this team of people that he's built up. They're all sales representatives, and he has built a multi-million-dollar business and it's through his gift of encouragement. It's through his gift of keeping people going and having them be accountable. I see some of his videos and that kind of thing, and I'm so proud of him because I see his discipline. I had lunch or breakfast with him, I think it was last week. And when he was on his way up to Georgia going somewhere, and that time with him was so special because I know how regimented his time is, and I know how intentional he is with each second. So, when we find those people, we don't have to do anything but watch them, watch their habits, watch what they're doing, how they're spending their time. When we're in praise team practice, he goes out at a specific time because he gets up at like 3:30 every morning and he walks, he does his daily discipline things, but he's in bed each night at like 8 p.m. And that's because he is so intentional with his time. But I look up to him as a role model for that because I want to emulate that more and more in my own life. We need those people that we look up to and that we emulate, and then that can hold us accountable. So, accountability is not a bad thing. People hear that word and they're like, ooh, but with our meeting here on Fridays, this is it is what it is unless I have, something to do with court or something, that just can't be avoided. I'm here. There's no questions asked. If someone asks me to do something at this time on a Friday, sorry, I can't, because that's how valuable our time together is for me. Each week when we come together, yes, we're broadcasting, we're sharing live for other people, but this time encourages me. It helps me remember who I am and whose I am. And
Mm.
that's so vital. As we've talked a bit about faith today, I was so happy this week, with my nonprofit, the Storm Foundation. We accepted a guy this week that was in the same prison I was incarcerated with and came as a referral from the chaplain. He's completed an accredited ministry licensing program. Um, and just to see that there are those that are working so diligently for their chance at success. It's not there, it's not open like it is for all of us. But he worked for years to get to the point that when he was released, he would be able to launch well. And to be able to intersect with him, to give him resources and to get him connected, with employment and that sort of thing, it's awesome because he worked hard to get to this point. He worked hard when he was tempted and when he could have said, I'm not going to do this. It won't matter. But it did matter. And now he's having a completely different result at the end of his incarceration journey than he thought he would have when he started. And that's faith. He had to have faith to come here. He had to have faith while incarcerated to go through, the rigorous process that is required with that ministry school. And just to meet those people and to see so many that are being diligent, that are putting their time in, and they're bridging everything. They're basing it all on hope. They don't know what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. They don't have access the way we would, but they're really building their life on hope. That's encouraging to me. That's really encouraging to me. So if you're watching, you're not in that situation, think about it. You have even more opportunities than they do. You can reach out to us. You can reach out to family members. You can go after your heroes. Do it. Don't wait for another week. Don't say, oh, I'm going to do it this summer. Do it this week. Let us know when you do that. Let's celebrate it together. Are you ready for that next job, that next career? Are you ready to open your own business? Are you ready to give that keynote speech? What the heck are you waiting for? Now's your time. This is your season. If you've been thinking about it for so long, now is the time. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. And we need to do what we can do to make your dreams come true. So you want to talk about what to do in that block you're going to schedule? Reach out to us or share with us your best practices. If you're already doing that, let us know what you do during those times to keep yourself inspired, motivated, and going always to that next level. Would love to see that. So, Mark, what do you have upcoming over the next few weeks, months, that kind of thing? What's going on in the land of Mark? I would love to know that. I know everyone else would as well.
That's a good question. I have a few trips and some travel that I need to take care of, and so I'll be traveling. So looking forward to that, and I'm just looking forward to May. I mean, looking forward to the next phase of life, and just staying faithful to the work that we're doing, staying faithful to principles that we care about. Just excited about the possibility. I do believe we live in a golden age of opportunities. The generative AI, new business processes, the hunger for authentic connection has given the power into the hands of the creators all over the world. It is not immediate, but there's a lot of examples that people can follow and create something meaningful in their lives. And it's available for you to give you more options so you can choose where to live, who to spend time with, and the projects you want to dedicate. So I encourage everyone to open up their point of view, ask questions, and see where it leads you. You may not even know where it's going to lead you, but this process, this journey is exciting. So just want to say there's a lot of opportunities, and you know this, Nick, you talked about this before. So it's never too late. There's always going to be somebody who needs your services and they will resonate with you. The problem is that often we don't raise our hand to um, to say yes, I can lead, and this lack of standing up and being a leader, I think, is a problem as well.
Well, let's stand up for ourselves and for each other. Let's encourage those around us that need us, that need that us to be that catalyst to motivate them. If that's what you've got, you know you've got it. So use it. Use it. Use what you've been given to help other people. If that's encouragement, do that. If it's just, I can follow up with people, I can text them and say, hey, hope you're doing well. Be that person. If you can be the person that comments on posts and encourages people, some people find that so meaningful. Do that, but lift others up. And if you know that someone in your life is going through a crisis, if they're trying to find who they are in their place in this world, listen to them. That's the one thing you could do is listen to them. You may not have an epiphany moment where you solve all of their problems, but a lot of times they can get their roadmap and their game plan just through having a safe person to share their hopes, their dreams, and their goals with. Be that person. Do you know that you can encourage someone just by listening? It's not just in what we say, but it is in how we respond. And if we're mindful, we're there, we're showing up, we're intentional, they're going to trust us and they're going to be able to share from a place of authenticity. So be yourself, be authentic. The world does not need another template.
Yes, I think
Be you.
authenticity is a real big. I mean, it's just coming in such a clear focus more and more. We used to talk about it, and now we're living in it.
That's exactly right.
We're
Well,
experiencing it.
absolutely. Well, we will see you all next week, 10 o'clock, right here on the Art of Encouragement. I'm Nick Patterson, my amazing co host and encourager in chief, Mark Gai. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.